各位观众朋友，大家好，我是严克映，非常谢谢大家来收看我们音乐世界的节目。我们今天要继续采访北伊利诺州立大学的钢琴系主任 Dr. Goldenberg。我今天呢，最主要是先想请教他为什么会选择音乐这条路。另外，在我旁边的呢是林瑶，他是 Dr. Goldenberg 的assistant， 我也要让他来 share 一下他的 experience work with Dr. Goldenberg。所以我们就先请问一下 Dr. Goldenberg。So, can you just tell us why do you choose music? You say you can choose medical school, but finally you choose music. Why?
Yeah, I was very interested when I was growing up in high school in mathematics and science, and when I went to college, I majored in mathematics and music. And I took lots of sciences, and I applied to medical schools, and I got accepted at both music school and medical school. I decided on music, and really it was basically just because I loved it the most, but I continued, even in college, to study sciences and mathematics and so on. And I've thought about why it is I loved music so much, and I have an idea. We never know why we really do something, or it's really something you just love in yourself, but it's inside of you. But I have an idea why I liked music more than mathematics. Music lets us use all of our human abilities. And mathematics, intellectually, there's a lot of depth, as well as science. We think rationally, we think empirically, inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning. We can figure things out intellectually with our brain. But there are other parts to being a human being, and music includes intellectual understanding of the music, but in addition to that, it expresses emotion, it expresses spirituality, it lets us use our physical body. Movement is a big part of music, and in addition to that, there's a social aspect to music. Not only when we play with other people, we play chamber music, and of course there's a social aspect, but when you play any recital, there is an audience, and there's communication that comes through you to the audience. And as the way I experience it, music is the most personal and the best way to actually let another person understand your experience. Because when you play music, it comes from you, and through the sound, it goes right into someone else's body, and their whole experience is something related to what you're experiencing. That's not available in mathematics.
Right. Actually, I want to mention something. This is related to music therapy, what you are talking about.
Yes, right.
其实我相信你们如果收看我们的频道，你会注意到我们还有一个非常重要的一个题目是身心灵 ，body, mind and spirit.
Yeah, and I use this, by the way, when I'm teaching very often.
Oh, yeah, it's like the same.
These are related, and when I ask people to work on their music, you can focus on any one of those areas, and it will affect and change the other areas as well. If you work on how you're moving, it will change the feeling, and it will change your intellectual understanding of a piece.
所以其实钢琴演奏，我们待会还会特别讨论，就小孩子为什么要学钢琴这个问题，请教 Dr. Goldenberg。因为事实上呢，我们讲到音乐医疗，音乐医疗事实上是救人的身心灵的一个所谓 healing。然后刚才 Dr. Goldenberg 他讲的，事实上他跟我的一个想法事实上不谋而合，因为呢他在这一方面他有 常年的一个 experience。但是我们就理论来讲呢，它这个事实上就是所谓钢琴演奏就是身心灵的一个学习。那也就是因为这样子呢，我刚才事实上跟他稍微做了一个讨论。我认为呢，在钢琴演奏其实也是一种 meditation。Piano performance also is certain kind of we call meditation. And sometimes I really think you just like Buddhist, the way like your life, I will say your whole life. So actually, I really respect this kind of life. 我刚才讲到了，事实上，我觉得 Dr. Goldenberg 他就像是一个苦行僧，他在钢琴上的一个锻炼，在他的身心灵上面的一个发展，让我觉得呢，事实上这是我们所说的一个 Buddha 的一个最后的一个修炼，也可以说他学习的过程就是一个修炼的过程。这个我曾经写文章，特别在这方面做了一些发表。那所以呢，在这个同时，我想要请教他每一天是大概怎么样的一个作息，就是怎么样一个练习包括他教学，包括他练琴目前他是大概怎么样一个起居作息？Yeah, Dr. Goldenberg. So, would you please just tell us like how did you practice every day? Like how early you get up? All this kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, actually, I do have an interest in Buddhism, and I have read a lot, but I have even meditated, and I've studied a little bit. But I certainly wouldn't call myself a Buddhist or an expert at all. But I just have followed my own path, I think, in music. But yes, I do get up fairly early in the morning. I'm always up by 4 a.m. in the morning, and I do sit quietly and meditate a little bit actually before I even play or do anything.
Do you have religion?
Because
yeah,
I'm Jewish in background, and I always have. This is a funny thing, you don't know it, but I'll tell you now.
Okay.
I always have thought that Buddhism and Judaism go very well together.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you why I think that. Buddhist or Taoism a little bit also. And the reason I think they go well together is Jewish culture. I'm not religious at all, but Jewish culture is very much involved, Jewish people are always interested, I think, in doing things and getting things accomplished and achieving things and getting justice done and making things fair. There's lots of Jewish doctors and lawyers, and I always think the reason is, many people think it's just so they can make a lot of money. I don't really think that's the reason. I think my theory is it's because Jewish people want to make things good in the world, the way they really should be.
Right.
You know? Well, we don't know how they really should be, but we think we can make things better. So Jewish people do things and do things and do things, and they never stop doing things. But and that leads to a lot of heart attacks and agitation and upset. And the reason I say Buddhism or Taoism is helpful to Jewish people is because part of the feeling that's developed when you practice Buddhism or meditate or Taoism is to allow the world to go as it is going and not trying to change it and do things all the time. So, and I always say, this is kind of funny, but I always say that there's a word in English called antidote. When you take poison, if you eat poison or something that will kill you, you can save yourself by having an antidote. You eat something else that makes you healthy. So I always say that Judaism is the antidote to Buddhism. Buddhism, the problem with some Buddhists, not all, but some Buddhists and some Taoists is they are passive. They're always peaceful. Nothing's happening. They don't do anything, don't change anything. Everything's fine. And Jewish people are just the opposite. we have to do things all the time and change things all the time, and it's too much doing things all the time. So Buddhism is the antidote to the poison of Judaism, and Judaism is the antidote to the poison of Buddhism. So they're yin and yang together.
That's right. This is what I want to say.
That's what I was going to say.
如果大家对这个有兴趣的话，欢迎你们收看我们身心灵的节目。我们身心灵节目有非常多的专家专门探讨这一方面。This is another program actually I'm doing that I say this body, mind, and spirit. Actually, I got some kind of idea. Actually, Buddhists basically just let everything go by itself, and we call karma.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
I know.
So yeah, and I understand what are you talking about, but we don't have too much time to talk about this right now.
That's
but
philosophy.
I really, there's another thing. So now, basically, how much time you spend on practicing every morning?
Oh, today, at this time, it depends again on whether I have lots of duties for the university.
Right.
I have to serve on committees, I have to teach a lot of students, I have to perform. And so it depends. If I have performances coming up, then I'll be practicing 6 hours, even 8 a day.
In the morning?
Yeah, in the morning, at night, all times. Whatever. If I have to practice, I do it. But if I'm busy with other things, then I'll practice less. So I can practice maybe just a couple of hours in a day also at other times. Okay. It depends.
But you still keep practicing every day?
Oh, I always practice. Yeah, I never not practice any day.
Okay.
Well, no, actually I'll amend that. I'll change what I said there a little bit. I do believe it's sometimes good to do no practicing and maybe even not listen to music for a while, maybe a week or at least a couple of days, because then your ears are refreshed.
Exactly.
They open up and you hear. There's no doubt that your ears hear better after you've had a rest than if you're practicing 8 hours every day. Then your ears are not open to new sounds when you're practicing too long.
对，刚才 Dr. Goldenberg 也讲了，就说有的时候你稍微有一段短的时间一个休息，你反而可以让你自己就说你的 ears 能够更敏锐，在音乐上，我相信可能可以就说听出来更多不同的东西，因为有的时候你弹太久了，可能就钝掉了。所以说这也是为什么我要请他就说稍微陈述一下他到底是怎么样 practice。不过呢，我们今天呢，林瑶在旁边，我为什么要今天他也来接受我们的采访？就是因为他有一段很有趣的一个 experience with Dr. Goldenberg， 我们就让他来就用中文直接解说吧。She will speak in Chinese. Okay.
Dr. Goldenberg 他练琴的方式很有意思，然后我经常就说我有次经历，我来找他，希望他能帮我签一些字，然后我就一直站在门口听他是不是有在教课，然后我就听到他在里面又唱啊又在讲话呀，我就不好打扰，我就希望等到他教完课后我再去敲门，然后可是呢我就听到他一个人一直不断的唱啊一直不断的讲啊，还一直不断的喊得非常的大声，然后又没有听到有人在跟他互动，所以我就觉得很奇怪，然后我就尝试的慢慢的去敲一下门，然后我又等了10分钟，最后再敲一下门，他终于开门了，然后一看是他一个人，可是他刚才在里面一直在唱啊一直在讲啊一直在叫喊啊，然后我说老师，那您是在跟谁讲话呢？他说I'm teaching myself.
OK， 所以这个是一个很有趣的就说一段故事。事实上 ，Dr. Goldenberg 说，他平常练琴的时候，他是觉得这是必须的，你必须要唱。然后呢，他也有习惯性就是 talk to himself. Yes, you talk to yourself when you practice. So what did you say? You bang on the piano.
I don't know what I'll say. I'll say, look before you jump there, or don't bang that note so hard, or whatever.
Do you think that?
But most of all, I like singing. That's correct. You said that before.
Singing
is very valuable. Not all the time. You have to listen, of course, too. But singing can really help you understand how to express a phrase.
Yeah, because 我也是一个学声乐，所以这一方面我是非常的赞同。所以小孩子他们在起步的时候，我所有的学生我都是要求他们必须要唱，在弹琴的时候必须要唱。所以我们今天呢，不管怎么样来说，我们非常高兴林瑶还有 Dr. Goldenberg 能够就是我们的采访，能够提供他们这么多有趣的故事，还有他个人一个练琴的一个所谓的一个所谓他的习惯，或是他觉得这个对他有帮助。我相信呢，你们也可以由这个他们的谈话中间呢受惠不浅。OK， 谢谢大家。